Hello, anti-novelists, Lilligans, friends, and curious onlookers. We are back for another episode of Zettelkasten for Fiction, where imagination finds order, the book that I am writing for you to help you get your writing done, and also to create an amazing cadre of thinkers, writers, people who love books. We're just all gathering together. So, I wanted to jump in really quickly because I got a question on a previous video. What does a main card look like, Victoria? Can you show us that process? Well, as a matter of fact, I can, because I just finished this piece of a chapter in the Zettelkasten for Fiction book. So let's check it out. This is the chapter where I am discussing making main cards, okay? So let's say, for example, that your story has a key scene that revolves around a dolphin. Maybe from your research, from your imagination, somewhere a dolphin comes up. So you're going to grab a card, note card. You're going to decide where you might want to put that card. Let's say you give it the number 3050, because if you're labeling with the Scheperian system, which is Scott Scheper's anti-net Zettelkasten book system, where he guides you through setting it up, the natural sciences are the 3000s. So you know your dolphin card is going to go in the 3000s. And let's just say that you decide it goes under marine life, which is a subset of biology, and you're going to file it under dolphins. Okay, so you just kind of know that at a high level. You don't have to get very far in the weeds. You just know it goes under natural sciences, it goes under marine life, and then I'm going to stick dolphins there. You choose the number 3050 because that's about the halfway point, right? It's not at the front of the 3000s. It's not at the end. It's 3050. So right in the middle. That way you've got some real estate on either side of that card to continue adding cards. So once you decide that this item that you've been thinking about or researching is save worthy, that's how you know it's a main card. So I'm going to put a pin there because we will get into your bib card and selecting what becomes a main card later. I'm just showing you from a fiction writing perspective, creating a main card for your idea. So that's all we're talking about here. So let's pretend like this square that I've drawn shows one note card. Okay, so this is one note card. And you can see I've labeled it 3050 and I've given it a title, Marine Life Dolphins. Now, let's say you've made some notes from research and maybe from some things that you just know because you're a dolphin fan and you love them and think they're cool. So you just happen to know cool stuff about them. So on this card, I've noted dolphin notes. They have their own language. There are 36 species existing in every ocean on Earth, including fresh water. That's cool. They exhibit culture, ideas, beliefs, customs, and practices, all of their own as a species, which is wicked cool. The important magic starts here. Note, I've written in all caps, backstory. So what I'm telling myself is, I've got these facts that I've noted up top, and then towards the bottom of the card, I'm going to write the word backstory so that I know this piece of information applies to maybe, let's just say, my main female character. And if that is the case, you know I love me some color coding. So what I would do is I would grab myself a pink highlighter. And if this is a backstory bit that is relevant to my main female character, I would just swipe that in pink. So at a glance, when I'm going through my Zettelkasten note box and I see this card, I know this Dolphins card has backstory for my female character. So what I have here is just a note to myself about her backstory. The really interesting thing about the dolphin is that even though Sally, fake name for your character, had lived by the ocean her entire life, she'd never thought to look up facts about dolphins. She simply accepted them for what they are, amazing, kind of magical, and independent of academics and study. See how that tells you a little something about that fake character, Sally? It tells you that she's a dreamer. She loves amazing, magical things. She doesn't worry about looking them up, pinning them down, and dissecting them. She is just a sweet soul that sees the magic in these animals. Notice here, the next note that I've made on this pretend card, this main card, is the word conflict. So as I'm creating this backstory note to myself about this fake character on my dolphin card, I'm also making myself a note about a potential conflict in her story. while speaking poetically about dolphins, Sally is annoyed when a guy, Dave, butts in and starts listing boring facts about them. The contrast demonstrates how different they are as characters. And then I've made a question for myself. Enemies to lovers? See how I've captured the facts, but I've also left myself this thread for how this might apply to Sally's backstory and her relationship with Dave. So I'm already leading myself with this breadcrumb trail from the facts about the dolphins to how they could apply to my character, and then how that could apply to a relationship in my story. This is crazy exciting. This is like writer gold, because what I'm doing is I'm showing myself how I could take a piece of information and how it could apply to my story. Now let's take one more step and look at the indexing aspect. The index is where the magic happens, because in this example with Sally and our dolphins and Dave, the potential love interest, I need to be able to find my way back to those story pieces. That's where your index is gold, because if you thoroughly index these ideas that you've captured, you'll always be able to find your way back. Let me show you how. In this example, I might go to D in my index and record the keyword dolphin with the number I've assigned it, 3050. Then maybe I'm going to go to M, because in my mind, if I'm looking for that piece I remember about dolphins, I'm going to go to marine life, because that's just how my brain works. You, in your index, might instead go to ocean life, or maybe the sea, as in SEA, not C. But you're going to index this by the keywords that will tell your brain where to find that information. So in my mind, under marine life, I would stick dolphin in my 3050. Then maybe I'm going to go to my S card, or my S part of the index, under Sally, right? Because that's my main female character, or at least the character we've made up for our purposes. So maybe I will write something under my S index. Dolphin reveals conflict with Dave. And then I'm going to list the number of that card, 3050. Well, after entering these things in my index, this makes me remember, D for Dave. So I'm going to go back to the D tab or card of my index, and I'm going to add Dave, dolphin conflict, card number 3050. So in this way, installing your research main card, where you leave yourself a note about backstory and conflict, and then thoroughly indexing that card by its subject, its keyword, which is dolphin and potentially marine life, or however you're going to remember it, and then assigning the subsequent keywords, which might be under S for Sally, and then that would send me back to D for Dave. I'm putting a note, a keyword, that sends me back to this research card every place in my index that I might think to look for it. That, my friends, is the true magic of using the Zettelkasten to write your fiction, because it becomes this conversation with yourself and the cards where you're sending yourself back to those ideas and always able to find them again. Now, I will expand a ton on this when I get to the chapters on world building and creating a book Bible, which those are the appendices, because that's when it really starts to shine. I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes I can't remember something past the day I wrote it. But having a great, very well-populated index, and then giving myself really good key terms to get myself back to those thoughts, has saved my bacon in my novel writing more times than I can count. So there you have it. That is an example card created using your original notes, your thoughts, and how you think they might apply to your story, and then a quick exercise for how you would go about installing that into your index. Now, I've included several other examples in the book. This is just one that I hammered out today as a great starting point, so I hope that was helpful. In the future, we're going to continue. I'm going to get the book done. I'm going to get it in your hands, and then we're going to continue this conversation as we trundle along down the road of getting your book written. So I will leave you there for today. As always, thank you every single subscriber. I am grateful for each and every one of you. I'm doing this work for you because I believe that you have a book in your heart that is worth writing and a story worth telling. So let's get it done. Get to work, get some words on the page, and I will see you all tomorrow.